All right, so lesson 3-4 is dividing integers or dividing rational numbers. So we're going to talk about division today. And this should also be a review for you again. Now somebody explain to me what I'm going to do to start solving this problem. What am I going to do, Hannah? Sure. So 13 over 4 times negative 17 over 4. Then tell me what I'm going to do. I can't reduce here, sadly. I can't. Remember, you can reduce this way and this way and this way and this way, but not this way. Okay? That's the bad part. So I know this is going to be 16. And what did you guys get for the top one? 221? Okay. So it's going to be 221. If it's two negatives, you're going to have a positive answer, right? So then you're going to take 221, divide by 16. Oh, wait. Right? Yes. Let's see. 6 and 4. 3. 8. 48. What'd you get for an answer? Let's see. 5. 13. 13 over 16? 13 and 13 over 16? Anybody? I can't reduce 13 and 16. It looks like it's reducible by 3, but it's not. It looks like this. So be careful on multiplying, be careful on reducing, and all that good stuff. Does everybody know how to do this today? Everybody's pretty comfortable with multiplying? Because if you're comfortable with multiplying, you're going to be able to divide. So, ready, Olivia? All right, so I just said that. Yep. All right, so reciprocal, do you remember what reciprocal is? Yeah. What is reciprocal? Okay, time out. Somebody raise your hand. Lydia. The opposite. Okay, this is also known as the multiplicative inverse. Now on, it's going to be known as the multiplicative inverse. So when they say reciprocal, they aren't really going to say that anymore in your book. It's going to be the multiplicative inverse, okay? So make sure you say multiplicative inverse is the opposite, if you need to remember what that is. Okay? So for example, the opposite of 3/4 is 4 over 3. Okay? The opposite of 6 over 1 is 1 over 6. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? If I have this number, let me do another one. Let's say 3/9. What's my multiplicative inverse of 3/9? 9 over 3. What if I have this? Okay, so first I need to make it an improper fraction, which is 3 over 2. That would be my multiplicative inverse of that. Okay, so if you have a mixed number, you have to change it to an improper fraction, and then you can flip it. No, I have 10 more slides. It's not going to be 10 more slides of multiplicative inverse. That would be boring. But do you all know how to make a reciprocal or multiplicative inverse? Just the opposite. Okay. No. All right, and we kind of just talked about this before. So if you need an example in your notebook, I would make sure you get an example in your notebook. So to make the multiplicative inverse of this, I'm first going to change to an improper fraction, 19 over 3. Then 3 over 19. Okay, so if you need an example, make sure you get an example in your notebook, because you will have to do this today. Okay. Same thing, just put a negative in front of it. So it'll be 7 over 2, negative 7 over 2, and then the multiplicative inverse, negative 2 over 7. Same thing, just put that negative with it. Good question. Okay, so we're going to start by dividing fractions. So if you need to write that, dividing fractions in your notebook, make sure you get that done. Okay, first thing we're going to do, it's 1/9 divided by 5/12. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this. It's kind of like keep, change, change. Remember that? But like I know the 7th graders call this keep, change, flip. Do you remember that from 6th grade? Okay, so this is another thing you can use if you're unsure. You're going to keep this, you're going to change this, and you're going to flip this. So it's going to look like this: 1/9 times 12 over 5. When you need to divide something, you're always going to change this second one, and that sign you're going to change the sign to a multiplication sign, and then you're going to change the fraction to the reciprocal. Doesn't matter. You just keep the negative. Yep. So now what you're going to do here is you multiply across, but you can reduce. This is just like what we did yesterday. See how we're building? Yesterday we learned how to multiply. Today we're dividing because you have to use multiplication in it. You're going to reduce. Goes in 3 times, goes in 4 times, and you get 4 over 15. That would be your answer. Okay, so in reality you're just multiplying. But you have to remember to change the sign to multiplication and flip the second one. Yep.
So it's kind of like just multiplying.
It is multiplying.
So is this times?
No. It's kind of like when you add negative numbers and subtract negative numbers, you only change subtraction. Same thing here, you only change division. Because our goal is to make it so it's multiplication every time. So let's do another one. So I have negative 3/7 divided by 8. Okay, so negative 3/7 divided by 8. What do I have to do with that 8 first, probably? Put it over 1, good. Now I'm going to rewrite my problem. Times 1 over 8. Somebody will forget to flip it today, so do not forget. You never ever flip the first one. You always flip the second one. So it'll be 3 over 56, and a negative sign will be your answer. I don't think you can reduce that. Can't. That's my answer. So it's one big thing you have to remember today. At least 2 big things you should remember today. Keep, change, flip. Yep, change the middle sign. Flip the last one. Flip the last one. Yep. And then multiply. Okay, so here's one with a mixed number. So you have to change to improper fractions first. Okay, so it's negative 4 2/3 divided by negative 3 1/9. First thing we're going to do is we're going to change to improper fractions. So 12, 13, 14 over 3 divided by 27, 28, negative 28 over 9. I always write it out how it should look first because I can't do mine with like a few steps. I have to see every single step. You can? Oh, I can't do that. I have to see every single step. Yep, I do too. So then negative 14 over 3 times negative 9 over 28. Luckily, you can do a lot of reducing here. Like a lot. 14 goes into both of these. 3 goes into both of these. Get negative. Wait, it's going to be positive, actually. Positive 3 over 2, which is 1 1/2. Nice job. So do you see how it's important to know how to multiply? Why do you think I asked you? Is everybody comfortable multiplying today? Because it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
It's like
yep.
What we used to do, like adding sort of, and then subtracting.
Change to an addition problem. Yep, it's the same thing. Yep. Okay, remember I showed you this yesterday? This is actually going to be in your homework today. Okay, so remember how yesterday it wasn't? Today it is. So let's go back and let's talk about this again. Remember, this is called an algebraic fraction. Remember that? Why is it called that again? Because it has what in it? A letter. Yep, a letter. So it's going to look something like this. So if you need an example, make sure you get it written down. It's 5 divided by 3ab divided by 15 over abc. Sounds kind of weird. Feels like I'm in the Sesame Street. ABC. 3ab. Feel like I'm in Sesame Street. So what I'm going to do is it's the same thing with an algebraic fraction. I'm going to change that sign and I'm going to flip that second one. So it's going to look like this. 3ab times abc over 15. Now what can I reduce in here? I can reduce what? Letters and numbers. And I can reduce 5 and 15. It's pretty nice. Should be 1, and this would be 3. And what else can I reduce in here? Yeah, A's, B's. Cool. Yep, so I'm going to have 1C over 3. I don't have to. You don't have to. A lot of times when I deal with a lonely variable, I like to put a 1 in front of it, but it's up to you. Okay? And I do that because later on it gets a little tricky if you forget to put if you don't have a 1 with it, so I always try to put a 1 with it, no matter what. But for this case, you won't need to. How many are there of these? Should be 2. Should be 2 for you. So, alright. Do these for me. Do these for me on your paper by yourself. Sure. 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 Yeah, because that 4 is going to cancel too, isn't it? Eventually. Yep, so if you don't have anything on the bottom, you can just put a 1. That's fine. That's fine. Yep, that is just fine. I think these are kind of fun, actually. They're easy. Yeah, they're easy. All right, so first one, what'd you get for an answer here? Okay. Everybody agree? Okay. What about this one over here? 2n over 1? Okay, so let's say, that's right, or just 2n is fine. Let's say you come up with an answer that looks like this. Let's say you come up with like 10b over 6, or 10b over 3. Do not change this into a mixed number. Do not. You have to leave it like this. Okay? Because we don't know what this is, so this is the simplest form it could possibly be in. Okay? So you don't need to change them to mixed numbers. There might be like that in the test. There might be one like that in the test. I can't remember. But yeah, you don't want to change it to a mixed number. Don't change it to like 3 and 1/3 b. Just leave it. Just leave it. Okay? Not okay. Leave it like this. Okay? Any questions on on this stuff? You guys good? I think this is kind of fun. So, any other questions on this? Everybody feels comfortable with it? Okay. That is all I have for you today. Let's look at your note or your homework.